So after high school, it's when I started like coming up with some crafts, some small portraits. So I was keeping them at my mom's cyber. And then one day, a client just came and asked who has done these pieces. So like the client was a bit curious about the pieces. So I was like, I'm the one. So that's where my journey actually started. It was back in 2018. So until now, I have been doing art, yeah.
Yeah, so take us through the process. Of course, we've seen some of your work here, and it took a lot of time. So take us through, do you visualize the piece you want to draw, or you just maybe copy and paste? As in, how do you come up with an idea and you bring it to life?
Oh, thank you. Good question. So what happens in art, so it starts with what inspires me to draw, or what inspires me to paint. Yeah. So that's where it will start. So I will tell you what actually inspires me. What inspires me is life in general. People, you know, it's God's creation, people are beautiful. And then we have nature, like the landscapes and paintings. So what happens, first of all, is the inspiration. After I've been inspired by something, it's when now I'll start visualizing it, and then I'll have to put it into canvas or into paper. Yeah.
And what do you use? Maybe there's some people who use graphite, paints. So in your work, what do you use?
Oh, I see you understand these things.
Yeah.
So I use paint, charcoal, and graphite. So currently I am specializing in the two of them to come up with a form of art called hyperrealism. So hyperrealism is painting something when you are given the original photo and the painting, they look alike. Yeah.
So you guys use charcoal?
Yeah, charcoal, but no, not the... Yeah. There is compressed charcoal, which you buy from the art shops. It's actually more compressed so that it can be comfortable and friendly with people. Yeah, not the raw charcoal.
Speaking of graphite, charcoal, and paints, those things seems expensive. So what are some of the challenges that you've come across maybe in coming up with these arts?
Oh, so coming up with these arts, actually, we have the challenge of getting the materials.
Yeah.
You know, it's a challenge getting these materials from the local art stores. Yeah, that is actually the main challenge. When you are starting, capital is an issue, but you know, as an artist, you have to just use what you have. Yeah, use what you have, a pencil and a paper, and you're good to go. So the more you advance, the more you get better. Yeah.
And we've seen a portrait here of Vinny Baite, I presume.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to come up with this art?
So, for example, for this one of Vinny Baite,
yes,
it took me just a month only. Yeah, the reason it took a month, I have to sit down, I have to capture all the details so that I can bring the portrait to life. Yeah.
And also there are some of the portraits we can see here, of course. Amazing work right here by art by Kollin. Of course, you can see this grandmother, or rather grandfather, beg your pardon. Great piece right here. So here you used charcoal.
Yeah, this one was charcoal pencils.
Oh, charcoal pencils.
Yeah, charcoal pencils.
Amazing work.
Thank you.
And I've seen your work on TikTok, of course. I've seen you draw walls, painting walls. How is that different from, sketching in a piece of paper and in a wall?
Oh, nice. So drawing on walls, simply we call them art murals. So first of all, obviously you have to start with the inspiration. And then now for the walls, I will have to use paints. So I have to bring the image that I have in my head to become something real. So this time I'm not working on canvas, I'm not working on paper, but I am working on the wall, but the process is the same. So the challenge with the wall is actually time, the time frame. For example, for this piece, I have told you I took a month, but for a wall, time is limited. So I have to bring the vision to life within maybe a day or 2 days. Yeah.
And of course, at most cases, we see a picture tells a story.
Yeah, sure.
So in your cases, have you ever drawn a picture that has a personal story to you?
Not really at the moment, but my pieces, they communicate something, not primarily a story, but they tell you something. For example, for this piece of this grandfather here, it was inspired by the fear of living an average life. When I grow old, for example, I'm like 60 or 70, when I look back at my life, how will I reflect it? Did I live a life worth living? Yeah.
Yeah, and there is this piece right here. Of course, this is a lady standing by the mirror or something, or by the door. Do tell us about the story behind this piece.
So for this piece, I got the inspiration from Pinterest, if I can say.
Yeah.
So this one is just a lady reflecting on her life. Yeah, it's just as simple as that. When you look at the piece, you can see it clearly defines it.
All right. So, you know, every time maybe you do a piece, you always have the idea of monetizing your pieces.
Yeah, sure.
So, for example, this piece by Avini by Time, how much does it cost?
So my prices are so low at the moment. Right. So I accommodate the high-end clients and also the average people. So for example, for this piece, it's an A3. It only goes for 5,500 shillings only.
A3?
Yeah, A3 size.
A3 sasa ni?
A3 ni E.
A3 ni,
and then kuna A4, and then iko hapa chini ni A2. Yeah.
So
zinaenda
A3 5K?
Yeah.
A2?
A2 10K.
Amazing, amazing. And how do your clients perceive your work?
So when I was starting, it was a challenge. Unachora mtu mazee anakuambia, hey Kolo, hiyo masikio rada. But as days go by, currently, especially this year, there's been a lot of progress. Like you see, my clients are so much interested with their work. They are happy, like happy clients most of the time, yeah.
And maybe I've seen you draw a hotel. Do the people there tell you, I want you to come up with something like this, or you just go here and you know, this is a hotel, I should draw this and this and this?
Oh, nice. So let me take you through the process.
Yeah.
So what happens, mostly right now I get my clients from TikTok through referrals.
Yeah.
So the client will approach me, maybe a phone call or via WhatsApp. And then the client will tell me, I have a shop, I have a hotel, I have a club and stuff. So I'll visit the physical place and then we talk. So there are some clients who want something specific. A client will give you an image, I want something to do with this one, or some other clients, they are blank. They believe in the mind of the artist. So it's me to craft all those ideas and turn the blank walls to life. All
right, and there is this maybe young person trying to make his way up there to maybe drawing, major in art, and maybe the parent is saying, drawing it like yeah. So what advice would you give maybe the young man or the parent?
Oh, so the world is changing right now, so we can't depend on the career life and all those things. So if you're out here and you really want to do something amazing, just do it. That's all I can say. Just do it. The doors will open for you. Yeah.
All right, and maybe what one has to maybe social media platforms, and maybe someone would like to collaborate with you.
Yeah,
sure, maybe, how what one has to
So on all my social media platforms, I go by just one name, by Kollin. It's just one. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, by Kollin. Yeah.
And maybe tukimalizia, how do people perceive your portraits? And uko hivyo home wapata mseme umechora vile home wasa uchoraga walls.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, as in kama pivi buruburu naonaga kuna mtu amechora Dedan Kimathi and stuff. So how do people perceive your work back at home?
Oh, so back at home the support is it's way crazy. Like people are really amazed by the talent, because art is not something which has everyone. And even though someone can draw, not everyone can paint. So you see people, they are amazed by the work, and yeah, they are so much amazed.
And according to your family support, maybe when you started drawing, walikuambia, did they appreciate what you're doing? Ama pia walianza kukuambia, yo, kwa sure unataka fanya drawing?
Oh, so they were so much supportive.
Yeah.
My parents, yeah, especially my dad, tunaitananga hapo tu mzae. So my dad actually, when I was in class 4, he went for a trip, and when he came back, instead of bringing me chocolate and pencils, he brought me colored pencils. So at that time, I didn't know I have the talent. I didn't know if I can draw, but it seems like my dad had a vision and he could see it. So actually, even right now, my mom called me in the morning to ask me, have you reached there? Umefika? Yeah, they are like, it's crazy. Yeah.
And how do you handle moments a piece imetokea vile hukutaka, maybe alafu in cases of maybe the hotel you've already painted, so how do you handle the moments?
Oh, so what happens, for me, I'll just look at the mirror like this, and then I'll see something is off, but the client, hata hajaamini. Like client ako, hey, wow, sikuwa na expect itakaa hivi. And then also, like the people around, they'll come and be like, I've never seen such an amazing work. So, yeah. And then I'll just go back, sit down, and then I check where I went wrong. And then in my next mural, I'll change.
All right, and I've seen this amazing big piece. So in A?
This one is A2.
A2.
Yeah, sure.
So tuonyeshe watu nyumbani na kazi. So how long did it take you to come up with this piece?
So for this piece, it took me 3 good months.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months working on the same portrait until it comes to life.
So ulikuwa unaamka unaanza na maybe na shati. As in 3 months aje?
So why it took 3 months,
Yeah.
I'll wake up and then I'll sketch. So when I sketch the portrait, I'll see like, you can see forehead imekuwa kubwa, pua imerealign. So I love to do all that. And then when it comes to painting, I'll first of all put the first layer. So when I put the first layer, it will be something like this one. And then I'll go layer by layer, layer by layer, and then I'll have to see like the portrait, the colors have balanced. From there, I'll then come to details. Details include putting the skin tone, the skin pulse, and also you can see like, for example, this one, the robes and stuff, the hair. So detailing takes a lot of time because I have to make that face look so much realistic.
Yeah, so how do you come with the, you know, the pose, the skin pose?
Oh, thank you. So for the skin pulse, I use an electric eraser.
Electric eraser?
Yeah. There, kuna kuanga na electric eraser. Yeah, so it's like a mini detail eraser. So it's a technique of painting, that's why I call it hyperrealism. So I'll just have a pore by pore. Yeah, there is no formula, no shortcut.
And how do you come about with, you know, this hair, it looks realistic?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So for the hair, I have first of all to look at the reference photo. This piece has been inspired by a friend of mine called Fab Photography. So for the hair, I have to look the original photo, and then I'll have to think of how I will bring the hair into reality. So the same way I've made the skin to look realistic, the same way I'll make the hair to look realistic. So it's all part of the same process.
So you've talked about the electric eraser. So, and maybe equipments gani zingine that you've used, maybe the graphite charcoal, the electric eraser. Do tell us about the tools that you've used to come up with this piece.
Okay, so it's the electric eraser.
Yeah. And
pencils, that's all. I don't use much tools. As at now, I'm comfortable with those ones. Yeah.
And amazing work. So, in the
this one goes for 10K, but actually this piece, it already has a client. Yeah, so I just asked for permission. Can I come with it to the studio? And then I'll just send him after I frame.
Also, you have to frame the piece. And
yeah, sure. I have to frame so that it can look like this one, so that it can go for years without breaking, without damage. Yeah.
Amazing work.
Thank you.
So how do you, na hizi ndogo ndogo, so ini
A4.
Is in A4?
Hizi zote ni A4.
So is A4 ni how much?
These ones go for only 2,000 shillings.
2,000 shillings.
Yeah,
and,
you can see it's cheap.
Yeah. And the smaller ones?
So these ones, I do make them for fun. Yeah. So if a client is interested, we can negotiate the rates. I don't have a fixed price on those ones.
Amazing work.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
do you have a workshop maybe in, you've said you have a workshop, your studio in back home.
Yeah.
And in Nairobi maybe, do you have a studio in Nairobi or something?
No, currently I have a home studio in Machakos, but you know, God is with us. Only God who knows what's ahead. Yeah. So maybe in future, Art by Kollin will also be in Nairobi.
But you do the deliveries, yeah?
Yeah, I do deliveries countrywide. Yeah, through the courier that the client will prefer. And
do you teach maybe people who are of course are talented in drawing, but don't have the skills, they need to fine tune their skills?
Yeah, sure.
So do you teach those people or?
So what happens? I have private art classes.
Yeah.
So this one, these ones are mostly for children. So like I will go to their home, teach the kids how to draw and stuff, maybe for 3 months, and then you'll see that the child has improved. And then mostly for the adults or teenagers, what happens is when someone is interested in painting, when I'm going to a client's work, I will come along with him or her, and then he or she will see how I'm doing the artwork. I guess that is the best form of learning. Yeah,
so
when you see something
they
how it's
learn
done.
from observation.
Yeah, observation and questions.
So what are your rates in maybe the children and the adults when you're teaching them?
I don't have fixed rate because, first of all, time is a challenge because currently I'm working as a finance officer for an NGO in Machakos called Terry Child. So you can see like time is a challenge. I have only the weekends, evenings, and the nights. So we do negotiate with the client until we both have a common decision. Yeah. Amazing
work.
Thank you.
And maybe you are there at home. Art by Kollin is on TikTok actually, and Instagram pia Art by Kollin.
Yeah, Art by Kollin everywhere.
Even YouTube.
Even YouTube.
And how maybe someone may want to reach you out and in person.
Okay. If you want to reach me out in person, you can call me through my number 0714 611 444, or you can reach out to any social media platform as long as it's Art by Kollin. As simple as that, I'll be available. Yeah.
All right, to support business, amesema goes for Vinibete ni 5K, A5 ni 2K. 3K, isn't it 3K?
2K for
the
A4.
To the A4. And then this one goes for 10,000 and ilishachukuliwa. And of course, there are these other pieces, amazing work here. Young talent. Let's continue supporting the work Art by Kollin, TikTok, every social media platforms. And of course, these other pieces right down here. Of course, he's doing an amazing work. It is exactly 29 minutes. Asante sana for making time for us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
TV, and maybe we'll be, having this conversation maybe later on in the years. Kyo may come up na pieces that as a 100K.
Sure.
I'll see you. Yeah, so it is exactly 29 minutes past the top of the hour. Many thanks for, of course, watching The Drift. And just in case you missed out on the conversation, you can actually get that conversation on our YouTube channel and, of course, as well as on YouTube. My name is Martin Masharia signing off. Frederick Njiri will be coming up in a few with the Leadership Challenge. I'm signing off. Do have yourself a good morning. And let's meet again later on in the day as we continue keeping you up to speed with what's happening from across our 47 counties and, of course, across the borders as far as news is concerned. But until then, let's meet again when God says we do.